My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and we just started a new service called My Agency Guy, where we come in and help other agencies, and today's show is going to be dedicated to them. So we're going to have behind the scenes, we've got guests that are going to come on air and ask me live questions. And if you would like to join us and ask me a question live on camera, you can spend about 10 minutes with me on camera. We'll put a link right there in the top YouTube comment as well as the YouTube description. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and we just started a new service called My Agency Guy, where we come in and help other agencies, and today's show is going to be dedicated to them. So we're going to have behind the scenes, we've got guests that are going to come on air and ask me live questions. And if you would like to join us and ask me a question live on camera, you can spend about 10 minutes with me on camera. We'll put a link right there in the top YouTube comment as well as the YouTube description.
Hello and welcome to the My Agency Guy live AMA. I am not Stephen Pope today. Unfortunately, Stephen was having some internet issues and could not be here, so I get to fill in for him today. I will be taking all sorts of questions, both in the comments, also in the actual description. You should see a little link. It'll go to StreamYard. Hop into that StreamYard link, and I'll bring the live on to show here, and you can ask me any question that you want to. Live on camera, and we will just go through everything that you need. So click that little link if you want to be brought in here and for all of us to answer some questions together. But all of that being said, let's hop right into it. So for those that are unacquainted today, my name is Noah Wickham. I am our sales director here, both at My Amazon Guy and My Agency Guy. I lead our entire sales department. I have worked from a sales perspective, an operations background as well as an entire slew of just brand management and ownership on my end. So we are going to be digging into all of the different questions you guys might have today around owning an agency, operating an agency, marketing for an agency, sales, anything that you might have questions on. Feel free to throw them in the chat. Like I said, hop into the StreamYard link and we will answer everything for you guys. So let's first and foremost go through a couple of things. So again, this is the agency AMA, so it is an Ask Me Anything. Any question you can think about or want to know about, feel free to ask. And like I said, hop in to our StreamYard link and we'll get through it all. Who are we? Just a little bit of background on us. So we are an education company first and foremost that happens to be an agency. That is how we look at ourselves. So we do content all the time like this, the AMAs. We do a live Q&A every single Friday. Our goal at the end of the day is to answer as many questions as possible for people. Now, secondarily to that, we have a full service management side to the company. So we do full service management for brands. Right now, we are about a $20 million annual agency. So that means that we are doing about $20 million a year, about 400-ish plus brands that we're working with at any given time. We manage about 1.2 billion in annual client revenue on Amazon. It's a very, very, very large number that we are very proud of. And one of the only companies out there that claims a revenue management number that can actually back it up as well. So there is that aspect. Now, this is our growth trajectory. So we actually started in 2018 as an agency. So a little over 7 years ago at this point in time, we started out. In the very first year, we were doing very, very little as far as actual management goes. And we have skyrocketed since. So we are on trajectory this year to be doing roughly about $25 to $26 million in total revenue. as well as a little over 2 billion in managed revenue for our clients as well. So some of the background, just so you guys understand a little bit more who we are. Now, what do people have to say about us? What do people have to say about My Agency Guy? Well, we have tons of reviews that we get all the time from our agency services. We are constantly giving away free education. We are constantly giving all sorts of insight, expertise, anything you can imagine. So feel free, again, to ask any questions in the comments. Hop into the StreamYard link in the description. I'd love to be able to answer anything for you guys. After that as well, there's something that I always am going to talk about, and I actually really wanted to have this be the pinnacle and start of our call today as some insight into the agency world. There is a few ways in which you can go about getting clients on any capacity, and it's essentially this exact graph here. We look at it from a 4-section graph where we have our one-on-ones, people you know, warm outreach. You know somebody, you send them a DM. That is how you get to talk to them. That is how you get the client from that aspect. Strangers, that's our cold outreach. That's sending a cold email, a cold DM, somebody you don't know, somebody you're trying to get in. And there's the one-to-many content, such as this. We are putting out content. We create YouTube videos every single day. That is how you send it to the people that you do know. And then finally, the run paid ads. We did not start doing any of the cold outreach or running paid ads aspect of things until about the last 2 years. Our agency has grown to its current stature of 20 million ARR from primarily the content aspect and the warm outreach aspect. We brought in cold outreach, like I said, about 2.5 years ago, and we brought running paid ads about 1.5 years ago. So since those, we have been able to essentially scale with paid ads another about 5 million ARR per year as well. And now to the wonderful part, which is for us to do an actual Q&A. I see a ton of questions over there in the comments here that we will get into. Secondarily to that as well, we will hop in, and like I said, there is a link down in the description. It should also be in the comments. If you want to hop in, ask me the question directly and us just have a conversation live on air here, feel free to click that link, hop in, and I will add people as they start filtering in here. So let's get right into it. Kind of the first questions today. Looks like we have one from Taki. How should I start getting clients for listing optimization agency and and how much should be the price per month for listing management or PPC management? It's a great question. So when you're looking at essentially pricing out your services within an agency perspective, you have to look at a couple of different things, right? What is your actual acquisition cost for your customers? What is your actual marketing budget? So are you, again, doing your 4-quadrant? Are you doing that from an aspect of cold outreach? Or are you doing it from a warm outreach? So that's going to affect both the cost and the marketing side of things. For understanding how much you're listing optimization, we always look at what is called burn in all perspectives. Burn is how many hours of work you're actually going to be spending on any one given topic. So if you are, for instance, doing hours and hours of work for listing optimization, how many hours should that take? Roughly speaking, typically listing optimization is going to take around 5 to 10 hours at any given time. So you have to look at the labor cost that's involved in there. We like to sit at around a 30% profit margin on any type of service that we do at any given time. So when we're going through, we always are going to price things out in that capacity of how much is our actual acquisition. So that's a cost to actually get that client. Then you have to look at what the actual marketing, or not the marketing, what the burn side. So how much is the labor involved within that as well? Any software costs you have in there. So all of those are things that you have to take into account when you are actually getting your pricing for any service, whether it be the actual management, listing optimization, or the PPC. So right now, for instance, if we're doing full service management for a client, that starts at roughly a base of about $2,500 a month for us. That will cover the cost of our brand manager on the account, project manager, advertising specialist, Amazon specialist, and designer. So all of those are costs from a labor perspective that every single month are going to be taken into account for every single one of those clients. Again, we try and sit somewhere in the ballpark of labor costs not being anything more than 30% of what the total is at the end of it. So great question to start us off there. It looks like we have a couple of people in here, I think, maybe. I see a John in here. John, if you have a camera, turn your camera on, and we'll get you in here to ask some questions. Let's see. Who's next? Callum. Best way to manage multiple account ads. I have an account I use for my clients, but all were originally brand exclusive deals, so we paid for ads. Interesting question. So if you have a specific account that you are using to manage for your client accounts, you can keep it in that capacity. Now, something that Amazon actually is changing here recently is that they are adding where anybody who is managing more than one account at any given time is going to have to be doing it from a SPP account, so Solution Provider Portal. So if you have not already, I would go and sign up for the Solution Provider Portal, as they're making that change likely this month to where you're going to have all of the accounts you manage under the Solution Provider Portal as is. It's a very quick, easy process to create the account, but that is typically how I would be doing multiple ad accounts. Now, if you're doing all of your ads from one single account, that's usually not going to be the best way to do it, simply because you're going to have some issues at the end of the day with separating out that advertising. The only time I will suggest that would be for something like potentially a DSP account. Great question, though, Callum. And it looks like we have John. Let's get John here. How's it going, sir? Oh, you are muted. How do we unmute you here? Right. Somebody on the back end will. There we go.
How are you?
I am doing well, John. How are you?
I'm good. So I just have a kind of weird question, because I'm a wholesaler working directly with brands. Mm-hmm. And from what I experience right now, there are some brands that have already stuff on Amazon, but there are also other brands that are trying to get on Amazon. So it kind of like my business is kind of mixed between wholesaling and brand agency. And I want to offer my services to them because, like, for example, I did all the courses from Mag School and I know how to do stuff, start and rank and all those kind of things. But I'm just wondering, how do I start, and like, what price should I charge them, considering that I can buy their products and also lead off the profit from selling those products?
Absolutely. So a couple of questions for you. So are you looking to specifically manage them selling on Amazon as they are their own sellers and you want to manage the accounts, or are you wanting to purchase the product and then essentially manage listings for them?
Yeah, so basically I would purchase their products and then create listings for them if I see it fit. And then from there, maybe, just help them increase their revenue, making their authorized reseller, things like that.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is a bit of what we would almost consider like a 1P type of partnership, right, within the agency space. So you have a couple of different people I would definitely look at for understanding a little bit more on like what it looks like from a large scale. So you have people like Pattern, right? You have people like Luminize. So these are companies that do something very similar, where essentially they don't actually purchase the brand. Instead, they just get wholesale contracts with brands. And then what you want to do for every one of these brands is essentially have them set up a Seller Central account and then have them set up their brand registry. Once their brand registry is set up, then they can add you onto the brand registry under your account as an administrator for that brand registry. That's then going to give access and ability for you to make all of the changes to the brand, control the entire listings, everything you want, while simultaneously still setting them into a realm where, they're not trapped to only using you at any given time. That's how you build both that trust aspect with them, right? Of them still having a little bit of control there, while simultaneously being the one to really grow their sales and still be able to manage everything on your end as well.
Mm. And in terms of charging them, should I charge them by one listing at a time, or should I ask them like a one-time big time fee, something like that?
So it depends. So you can do it in one of two capacities. So if you look at someone like a Pattern or a Luminize, usually they don't charge them actually based on the actual creation of listings. Rather, what they will charge on, and what's pretty common in the industry to charge, is just actually charging them a monthly advertising expense, right? So you are essentially the one who is going to be selling the product. You're the one who's trying to get the brand out there. So you have incentive at the end of the day, right? If you're purchasing the product to get the product to sell, but you're not incentivized to grow the brand in any capacity, right? So usually that's where I would lean towards, is charging them a monthly fee of amount of advertising ad dollars that you can then take and spend on advertising for those specific products and listings.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
definitely a good direction.
Absolutely. Anything else on your mind, John?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, hey, thanks for hopping on, sir.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. Thank you, John, for hopping in. It looks like we do have one other person in the waiting room right now. Once they have their camera on, we will go through and get them added in. In the meantime, we have a bunch of other questions here that we can get onto. Mr. D. Hunt, there are talks about 2PL agencies. Pattern, what do you know? We were just talking about that. What are your thoughts on this versus full service agencies like yourself? Here is my general thought, and I will say this knowing I just talked to John about this, and he may or may not like my answer. It depends. So if you work with someone like John, right? John is more than likely going to work with people who probably would never have sold their products on Amazon regardless, and brands that are going to be getting out there in some way, shape, or form, right? Whereas in a lot of typical scenarios, a pattern of the world, Pattern's going to do a great job of making your listing look fantastic. And that is their job at the end of the day. 2PL agencies are always going to be necessary, right? Amazon has Vendor Central, which is technically 1PL, but it really is kind of like the 2PL of the world, similar at the same time, right? So when you're looking at it, it depends on what your goal is as a company, right? Are you more interested in the idea of a higher profit margin, or are you more interested in the idea of lower overall, cost of doing business? Because as a 2PL agency, the friction that you are removing from the customer at the end of the day is the aspect of them having to manage anything other than inventory and logistics. That's all that 2PL agencies take away. They take away everything else at the end of the day. So absolutely, there is tons of merit in going with those. But if your goal as a brand and you're trying to pivot into that realm, D Hunt, what I would typically tell people is full service is likely going to be something that's more mainstay at the end of the day. Whereas a lot of times the 2PL, they churn a lot of the brands simply because of the fact that the brand owners realize at some point in time, hey, I'm spending $5,000 for you to advertise my products every single month. You're buying X amount of products that every single year has to go lower and lower in how much you will buy it for. And then eventually they're like, yeah, we're making, 5% margins on this wholesale deal. But the company, Pattern, Luminize, whoever it is making, 150% margins based on what they're selling it on Amazon, right? And we're paying for advertising. So it really was a complicated thing. Some brands, it works great, usually much larger ones that have more logistics set in place versus ones that have the ability to kind of smaller pivot in certain directions. Let's see here. We got Business Cat in the house. Hey there, Noah. Business Cat. My question is how to reach out to clients. Just is a simple cold email or prepare a full presentation of their brand? Okay, so if you are an agency that is reaching out, let's say you're talking about kind of the cold email. So if we go back here to the slide that I was showing a little bit earlier there, Business Cat, where, and how do I do this? There we go. So if we go back to this, if you're trying to reach out to clients, again, there is the 4 tables here of how you are getting clients. You have your go back. There we go. You have your one-on-ones, right? People, warm outreach. You have your strangers. That's cold outreach. That's kind of what you're talking about. That's cold email. That's sending out emails. That's sending out news blasts, anything like that. You have your one-to-many content, running paid ads. So let's talk about the idea of cold outreach in the sense of the one-on-one for a second here, right? If you are looking at cold outreach, our typical process is always going to be that of 2. Cold emails is best. Cold calls can help really, really well if you have the ability and bandwidth to do them. we like doing what is called an ASIN review, where we will literally take someone's ASIN and just show them exactly what's wrong and what they should change on the ASIN, how they should go about changing it, and every aspect around that. So that's a very, very easy way. I don't like the aspect of doing a full presentation until you're actually in the realm of being able to work with a brand. So that's kind of one of the things I would be hesitant to actually go towards right away. And I would focus much more on what can you do quick, efficiently, and hit as many people in a very personalized approach as possible. And it looks like we have another guest joining us. Trey, how's it going, sir?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Thanks for hopping on here. What's going on?
I don't know. I was just trying to, I saw that the AMA was happening and I had a moment. I'm like, oh, let me jump on and see what people are talking about. So I wasn't expecting to be on stage, but yeah, we just recently, I'm the owner of a map enforcement company. So we do map.
Oh, fantastic.
Mostly. And we're just sort of branching out into helping a lot of our clients have crazy messy catalogs with like thousands of parts. And so I got your SOPs and I'm, learning how to merge ASINs and it's a nightmare sometimes, and just create parentages and all kinds of stuff.
It really is. It really can be. It really can be. Well, hey, as long as you're what might be happening? What kind of problems or questions might you have around kind of the growth side of things?
What's really going on for me right now is that we did like a test, and we did, I got about 3 or 4 of my clients. I mean, we have over 200 brands and 103 clients, mostly in power sports and automotive, and just said, hey, would you be interested in this service? And they said yes, because it's very messy. So I'm sort of doing the work. So where I'm struggling right now is, okay, I need to be creating the structures and doing other parts of my business, and it's hard to fathom how much time I spend on spreadsheets, going in there and opening cases, and you do this, and then someone's UPC, and and like, oh, this UPC is bad, or there's all these little, there's just a lot to it. My other side of the company is very much of a software company, so you automate it and you make it work and it runs. This side is very hands-on. You can't just create a program that's going to go and do this. You got to open the case, and then Amazon says something stupid, and then you have to go and submit it again. And I'm just putting a lot of time into it. So where I'm at now is, maybe bring on a few more clients and bring on some virtual assistants. And one of the things that Steven said at one point was, be an inch wide and a mile deep. So we're focusing just on cleaning up catalogs, and figuring out how to price, so I'm sort of dealing with all these things.
Absolutely. Well, and you're completely on the money in the idea of how to kind of solve your problem, right? Is the idea of actually getting more, hands on board. We have our core values at the end of the day. And one of our primary ones is the multiply yourself core value, right? That's where essentially, so you bought our SOPs, right? And that's a big aspect at the end of the day of get SOPs in place, get process in place to a point where you can easily just take everything that you are doing, teach someone else exactly that, and replace yourself entirely, right? So that is exactly what you need to be looking at doing in this kind of capacity if you're looking to, expand even further. And that's a big thing that we teach here, is that we a lot of times won't put someone else into a new role. We won't promote someone until they have a replacement. So that's a requirement we have for anybody in the company at any given time, because of exactly that, right? You need to be able to teach others at the end of the day and be able to actually kind of replace yourself, so that, you at some point, Trey, can go and work on the actual big stuff, the big vision stuff, and, making that, inch wide, mile deep, and making it 2 miles deep, 3 miles deep, right? Yeah. And, take another one, make another hole somewhere else. So that's the big aspect that I would really, say hone in on right now if you guys are looking at expansion. I will say I also, background wise, have a bit of a, knowledge base within the power motorsports and map and everything, and have dealt with companies and all that, how, Polaris and all of their resellers in that capacity. So I understand the challenges you probably have going on right now with that as well.
Yeah. I mean, most of the companies, they didn't create their own ASINs. They have 1,000 of them. They're all created by random people, and they're terrible. I have one company, it's a new company, and they're just these brand new brands. And it's so nice. I'm like, oh, I'm creating the ASINs. I'm starting. It's not that hard when you're starting from scratch, but when you're trying to clean up the mess that's already out there, there's 5 or 6 ASINs for the same product. And the whole idea of merging, it looks kind of easy. You go in there and you say, hey, this is the same ASIN as this. And then, but every single time they kick it back. And, I've had very few successes on the first go. And they're always like, well, this, the product details are different on the two things you're submitting. I'm like, well, that's the whole point, is that this one's wrong and this one's right. The fact that, and it wants to like make them match more. I'm like, well, they're not supposed to, this one's just wrong. Just take it down, but that doesn't work.
Absolutely. Well, and when you get to that aspect in, business, especially when you're growing your agency and whatnot, and gets to where you realize there's a problem that is, especially is data intensive, that you've taken, 2, 3, 4 hours on, right? You start to think about, okay, could those 4 hours have been better utilized where I have someone else that's hired doing it and I spend it acquiring new clients, right? That's a big thing where, delegation becomes essentially key if you're really looking to continue scaling a capacity.
Yeah, that's 100%. You nailed it. That's exactly where I'm, because, I'm better at talking to people and selling and, but, since this is new, we've been doing our other business for 10 years and it's taken a long time to get our systems in place. So we throw a new client in there now and we're doing great. And by the way, we got a lead from you guys not too long ago. So thank you very much.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
sure. Someone on your page, I was talking to, I can't remember who it was over there.
Yeah, you guys are on our third-party recommended services.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if it came from there, but someone came to our website and said, how'd you hear about you? And they said, MAG group. I'm like, oh, that's freaking awesome. So I've been meaning to say thank you to you anyway. But yeah, so that's what absolutely. It is. And having your SOPs help, they're almost like kind of overwhelmed. There's just so much there. I'm like, okay, I just need to figure out the 2 or 3 that I need. And like, let's find one task that I can delegate and just do this.
Absolutely. Well, and you talked about the sales side of things and how that's where you're really honed in, right? And that's something that I would keep that very tight to your chest, right? Sales should be, in reality, the thing that you, especially as the owner and like whatnot, keep as close to you as possible and keep doing as long as possible, right? So sales, even for us, my Amazon guy and agency guy, Steven led our sales up until about Q3-ish of last year is when Steven finally gave reins for like sales over to me, and that was the last thing within MAG that he decided to multiply himself on, right? And that's a big reason for that, is because sales is such a critical and crucial part of a business, right? And you as the owner need to really keep rein on that and keep that as tight and close as possible. There are a lot of companies and everything out there that's where they fail, is they immediately try and bring in, a key sales, manager or person, into the business because they feel they're more of a tech-minded person, right? And that usually it just doesn't work out, because no one will know the business and be able to sell the business as well as you will, right? So that's the one thing that I would give as a kind of layer of advice there, as well as you're kind of doing the multiply, is make sure that that's the one area that you leave for last in the multiplication.
That makes sense. Yeah, I read that. There's some book I have over here on my shelf. I think it was called Ready, Fire, Aim. I'm not positive, but it was, it said something similar, get started. But that was, eventually you let go of things, but that was one of the last things to let go of. And that's true. I mean, and on the other side, I can sell the map side with my eyes closed. I mean, I've just been doing it for 10 years and I know all the details, and, every question anybody asks, I already know about it. But this side, when I was looking at the history of where you guys started and where Steven started, he had experience when he's his little Genesis story. When he started, it sounds like he had a few years of experience just freelancing, doing some of this. So I'm like drinking from the fire hose now. Like suddenly I have these just these 3 clients, and I have one more that wants it. I'm like, just me by myself trying to manage these 3 clients and the rest of my business. I'm like, holy cow! Just in my last meeting, I was like, I can't believe it's Thursday. I feel like it should be Monday. I have too much to do, and my goal is to try and give a deliverable to each of my clients at least every week. Of here's what I did, here's what's happened. I'm like, okay, like after this call, that's when I wasn't expecting to be speaking here. I'm like, I'll just put this on in the background and listen. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, what's that sound? I think I'm on stage. So I was totally unprepared.
All good. Well, hey, in that case, I guess I'll let you be. It sounds like you got things going on, Trey. Overall, I mean, it sounds like you know what you need to do, which is always good within, the growth phase at the very least. The big thing, like I said, is learn to multiply. Even with all the SOPs and whatnot, that's the best thing you can possibly do is just, multiply both people and then process from there. And I think you'll be off to the races.
Yeah, that's it. I got to fine tune my processes. Right now, I was going through my data yesterday or earlier today, and where I had one little spreadsheet I'd made, then I made a new version. I'm like, I have all these old versions. I need to figure out, okay. And I look at the ones from literally 2 months ago. I'm like, that's just so terrible, and
it's always, you can always optimize.
I got to delete all that and kind of just keep cleaning up the closet, as it were.
Yeah, you can always optimize is the best way to go about it. You're not solving. You're always going to be able to optimize, though. And that's going to be the key differentiator between things. Not everything can be solved, but most everything can be optimized.
Good. That's a good way of looking at it.
Absolutely. Awesome, Trey. Well, anything else before we hop off here?
No, sounds good. Hey, thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks for hopping on, sir. Appreciate it. And that was Trey. Fantastic having him here. All right. If anyone else wants to hop in as well, again, StreamYard link in the description. Feel free to hop on in at any given time. Let's see. I think we don't have anyone else in the queue. So let's go to, I think we have another question or two. Here we go. Business Cat, how to close the deal with a client. Which type of presentation should I make to win their trust? I basically handle listing optimization and designs. Okay, great question. So our sales process is the one thing, as far as our agency services, we don't usually give away all the secret sauce to, right? Because you can't give everything away, unfortunately. That being said, one thing I'll say is, somebody who's been within sales is I hate presentations. So a great story that I have is that about a little over a year ago, I actually told Steven, founder of My Amazon Guy, I told him in a one-on-one call with him that I was having on a random Tuesday, I told him I hate sales. And I meant it. I know that sales is a fantastic part of every single business. I know that there are people who are great at sales. I just personally always had this thought that I hate sales. The reason behind my hatred of sales is not something that comes from an actual hatred for the process or anything. It is simply that I hate bad sales interactions and I hate bad sales people because they make the sales process feel painful and like it's dragging on and like it's just a transaction at the end of the day. So the best advice I can give in any form when you're looking at trying to close a client, any deal whatsoever with somebody, try and make it as least transactional as possible. Try and make it as least pitchy as possible is the best way to put it. So when you think about a presentation, what should a presentation have? I personally don't use a ton of presentations outside of just a simple quick screen share. And that is purposeful because the last thing that you want to do when you're trying to close somebody is have them sit there on a Zoom call or a Google Meet for 45 minutes watching you screen share and read from a page that they could just read themselves. So my best advice when it comes to closing, one, ask for the close at all times. If you think somebody can actually be closed, ask them for the close. Two, make sure that if there is any objections that you have, all of them are laid out. My favorite tool for this, ask what else at all times. If they say, hey, I have this one thing or a couple of things that are going to be an issue, so on and so forth, ask the question to them after they say one of them, okay, what else? Before you handle anything else. That's going to help you a ton when it comes to closing anything. When you talk about the idea of listing optimization and designs, just lay it out very simply within whatever agreement or proposal you have for them. And it looks like we have ourselves another person. Let's get you in here. There we go. Hello, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I hope you saw multiple times me in the chat.
I did. I was seeing you had some questions in there. What questions do you have for us?
Yeah, actually, I have been doing Amazon for like 3 to 4 years. But the thing is that I have never done any listing optimization or PPC management. What I want to do is listing optimization essentially or PPC management for my agency. that I'm gonna build. And I have actually done some practice, and it's not a big deal to uh, optimize any listing to make it like a good to go listing to actually I mean if somebody has a PL brand, private label brand, uh, he what he actually want is the average listing, or mostly people have terrible listings, right? And all we want to do is to make the listing average or a good listing. So my question is, do we need to manage it monthly basis, or just bring the client in and just optimize the listing and just let client go?
Absolutely. So you have yourself into a dilemma of essentially what service to offer in what capacity, right? So the way that we essentially have set ourselves up is twofold. So we do both the full service management side, right? So we're doing monthly optimizations of listings, advertising, new design work, full account across the board, right? So we have that ability for people, and we lock them in typically to 90-day minimum commitments. However, we also have a different side of the business called website orders. And that is exactly what you're talking about, of single one-off services. So if somebody comes in, they have a single listing, they want a new image stack, they want you to do their SEO, but they don't, necessarily have the largest budget in the world. That's what we do for them, is a website order, right? So that's really the game that you have to play, is deciding which do you want to do. So if you're somebody who wants to be, let's say, a design agency, right? That's something you can do. And that's more of a website order where you focus on getting people in on a single one-off project basis, where you update 1 listing, 2 listing, 3 listing. If you're looking at trying to retain people long-term, full service is the way to go. Now, there's no perfect answer as to which route to go, or to go both routes. At the end of the day, what I would start with, if you're just getting started, is just figure out what the client wants. So ask essentially and figure out what's going to be best for them long term. If it's somebody who has, let's say, 40 products that need updated, the cost for them to probably update 40 products with you is going to be pretty sizable. If it's in a one-off capacity, that's where something like full service, where we will only do, let's say, 10 products per month over the course of 4 months, to end up optimizing all of their products, right? But they get a bunch of other stuff on the back end with that. So that's how you can kind of play that game and decide which route to go down.
What's the ratio of service-based client or website client in MAG or in any agency?
From from a typical standpoint, probably about 50-50. Realistically, is in any given month, I would say that, revenue wise, we're probably looking at 50% the one-off stuff, and then 50% new clients, right? So that's a big thing that is a part of our business, like I said, is doing single one-off orders. So it is definitely something I would always look at offering, because the biggest aspect that you'll get there is you'll also be able to turn those one-time clients over time into those full service clients that will then be continue to be the recurring revenue for you.
I got you. Actually, can you give me any idea of charging price for any one listing optimization?
Yeah. So the thing that I would probably tell you for what to charge is, I talked about it obviously at the beginning, right? You have to figure out your costs and everything. You have to figure out what it's going to look like from that capacity. The thing that I will tell you is, charge what you think you can sell, is the real answer here. So for us, we sell a single listing optimization with an image stack for $1,000. If it includes A+ content, it's $2,000. If it includes premium A+ and video, it's $3,000, right? And that's all for one image. Now, there are people who will say they will optimize an entire listing in the same capacity with Premium A Plus, and they'll do it for $400, right? So it's very dependent on how much do you believe that your work is worth, how much value can you really push with that, and what is the client willing to pay for that value.
Yeah, I got you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Any other questions or anything you got?
Bye.
Oh, I think he cut out. Yep, he cut out. All right. Well, that was good nonetheless. Fantastic. If anyone else has anything, feel free, like I said, hop into that StreamYard link down in the description. Feel free. I'll bring you back on here and we'll talk about any questions you have and I'll answer everything you got. Until then, let's hit back the QA a little bit here, huh? So again, with this question, how much should we charge our clients? I think that's the best answer for you is, again, how much do you believe that your work is worth, right? There are some people who charge people $10,000 for the same work that we do, and it's lesser quality at the end of the day, and people still pay for it. So the big thing comes down to how much can you sell it for is realistically the answer you should kind of look at. We have Callum. Have you had much joy in high ticket sales on Amazon? We have just enrolled a fitness brand, treadmills, couple of machines. Yeah, I mean, as far as joy, as in, doing, high ticket products, absolutely. So we have tons of clients that we bring in all the time. We don't have a, real distinction in what kind of client we will work with outside of, we don't work with like books very often. Outside of that, we work with fairly anything else, but high ticket actually works fairly well as far as Amazon goes. And those type of clientele, especially from the aspect of they usually have pretty good margins when it all is said and done. It is a bit of a trickier sell, but it's not anything outside of the normal. And then Callum also asks, I've started my fee as percentage of profits made. Would you say this is okay? If not, why? We don't personally do it that way. So we will do rev share along with a flat fee. The big thing to kind of take into consideration here is essentially, again, pay for yourself. If you're exceptionally confident in the idea that you can only take a percentage of profits made and make a really good profit yourself, that's great. And that will work really, really well for brands that are already kind of on upward trajectory or have the capability to invest in themselves. The area that type of model is going to fail you the most, Callum, is brands that are not willing to invest more into their own advertising. They want to be very profitable themselves and organic. You're going to have a lot of issues and a lot of stipulations in there. It's a great, great way to get sales. People love a profit share percentage or percent of profits made only model, and that's the only thing they pay. They love that because it's, you're essentially saying, hey, you don't pay me anything unless you're increasing in profits, right? So it's up in the air for me at the end of the day, but it's not out of the realm of what's average, right? Compared for most agencies. There are plenty of agencies that work in that capacity. You'll have issue with scaling, most definitely. You will not be able to scale realistically outside of, probably at like a max 50-ish to 100-ish clients at any given time. But you can definitely still do that in that capacity. I would probably lean towards rev share, if anything, though, if you're going to do just a percentage. Brandon, any suggestions on Amazon PPC? Was doing well, about 40 sales day. Agency podcast, non-Amazon questions podcast. So I'll come back to that if we don't have any more agency stuff. I recently submitted my commercial liability insurance to Amazon, but they rejected it, stating that the policy is not written on an occurrence basis. I purchased my policy through Next Insurance. Okay, so this is another Amazon thing, but I'll answer real fast because I went through the entire thing. Next Insurance will be able to get you the entire thing, so they should be submitting on your behalf to Amazon. Let's see here. We got someone from Brendan. Throw your, if you have questions, throw them down into the chat. Again, we also down in the description have a link to this StreamYard. So if you want to come on here and have your question answered live by myself, feel free to. Would love to answer anything you guys have. Brendan, let's see what you got. I just started an agency. My question is around solution provider network. Fantastic. Great topic right now. I just filled out the form after getting an invite. How many leads would you say you get from that? Is it worth it? Okay. You're not going to get a ton of leads from SPN, SPP, anything like that. So Amazon used to have SPN. So that's the service provider network. Everyone knows Amazon service provider network. It's, whatever it is, right? People can find you on there. It's, here and there, right? Here is what I will say is, first off, they're getting rid of SPN and they are merging SPN into SPP, which is the solution provider portal. So SPP is going to be utilized for managing any client you have, not just new clients finding you first and foremost. It's going to be essentially not a real lead gen tool for you, unfortunately, Brendan. SPN was never a super great lead gen tool. You're always going to have to pretty much find your own clients at the end of the day. You might get one here and there, but it's not going to be all that great realistically, especially because there's so many options on that. And it's not where people go to try and find the actual partners at the end of the day. Let's see here. We got Callum. How's it going? Why would you recommend rev share over profit share? We have got the deal with high ticket brand at 20% profit share. So rev share is what we do. The reason behind this is a couple reasons. One, first and foremost, it is much, much simpler for us to calculate as an agency outside of, profit share. Profit share is more complicated. It depends on how you do profit share and how you define it, to be fair. But we do rev share and it's based off just business reports. We look at the last 30 days. What is the business report for that client say from a sales perspective? That is Amazon's number. We take a percentage of that number, right? And that is our revenue share. We do gross revenue. Profit share would require us to go through payments, figure out what is Amazon actually ended up paying that client over the course of 30 days. Then a lot of times clients are like, okay, well, I want to take my cost of goods out of there as well, so on and so forth. And then, you get to the point where it's like, okay, well, yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? So 20% profit share is also very difficult to sell, in my opinion, comparatively to saying, hey, we'll do a 3% rev share, right? If I were to put apples to apples, 20% profit share is likely a lot of times going to be probably less, honestly, than or more, honestly, than a 3% revenue share on the top line, right? And it's a lot easier just from a gross revenue perspective. So if you're doing net profit, maybe, or gross profit, maybe that's a little bit easier. Net profit would be pretty difficult. I understand it is all relative. For someone who has a couple of VAs, what would you say is the highest ROI next step? Design, SEO, anything else? SEO, absolutely. So design is actually one of the more expensive things to do within an agency. SEO is absolutely going to be one of the better ways. So if I'm looking, I was talking a little bit earlier about like burn, right? And how agencies work with burn, and you have to look at labor hours and time spent with labor. And so that's a big, big aspect that I would look at, is look at your burn. But a lot of times SEO and optimization in that capacity is just going to be a lot cheaper and have a higher ROI than anything like design, because SEO can be automated to an extent. I mean, there's things like ChatGPT. You can make prompts that then all somebody has to do, and then they go through a revision process, right? And you can really start automating that process on the SEO side, whereas design, you can't, right? You need someone who has to actually go through, make the design. The average A+ content takes one of our designers about 4 hours for the first version of it. So just take all that with a grain of salt, I suppose. Brendan, follow up to that. I'm in the solution provider portal. And I have about 5 clients. They're not showing up in the clients section. Am I doing something wrong, or is Amazon still figuring this stuff out? They're still figuring this stuff out. So again, they are in the process of merging SPN and SPP. So SPN is what came before Solution Provider Portal. So SPN was Service Provider Network, and that's where you would actually add clients, right? So under the user permission thing, there's like partners section, and you would show up there typically. But since they're doing this whole merge and everything, it's just, it's a big, I guess, cluster is the best way to put it. So they initially put a date of April 10th being like, hey, we're going to do all this by April 10th. And then they're like, yeah, make that August 25th. And so we have plenty of time on all that, but they're still in the merge process of it. We haven't even started adding users or anything into our SPP really. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit, Brendan. And he also says, P.S. love this idea of an Ask Me Anything for agents. Absolutely. Happy to do it. I love doing stuff like this. And again, we look at ourselves very much as an education company first and foremost, before anything else. And with that, I mean, it's the big aspect of, we like to try and give as much value to people as possible. Value, whether you are a seller, whether you are a brand, whether you're an agency, it's all of us against Amazon at the end of the day. There's a guy here and he says he has a question, but I'm not going to answer any question he puts in the comments unless he comes on the actual AMA. Link in the description. In the meantime, I'll answer A. Spears. Is it possible to change BSR category once an ASIN is live in order for a better chance of bestseller badge? So this is an Amazon question again, not an agency question. I will answer though that BSR is just one of the main factors. Reviews matter a lot of times than BSR when it comes to bestseller badge for the most part. So take that in mind. Oh. And we have another agency owner, Mr. John Aspinall. How are you?
You didn't think I was going to come on, right?
I didn't know. What's your question? What's your question, Johnny boy? What can I do for you?
I have questions. So my question is, I didn't see the previous ones because I was talking to one of your colleagues, Kevin Sanderson, prior. So I don't know if the question was asked. By the way, a lot of swag over there. The cup, polo, look at that.
Yeah, I got a mug somewhere around here.
So my question is,
T-shirt.
Okay, enough. My question is, the best task manager for someone who's a solopreneur, for someone with an agency of 1 or agency under 5, what is the best way to manage tasks? Because I've tried every task manager under the sun. I've tried Asana, I've tried Monday.com, I've tried Trello, I'm currently on ClickUp and abandoning it really soon. I'm going back to Apple Reminders. So what's the best way to balance for a smaller team managing tasks, especially with clients and then internal?
I think I actually have a pretty decent answer here, oddly enough.
I would hope so. I'd hope so. As one of the biggest agencies in the space, I would hope so.
Hey, you're asking a question for small agencies. So here's what I would say, especially having, used to be, essentially a small agency of 5 people myself, right? That I had ran into a similar problem. The way that I solved the problem is that I realized essentially what I was trying to do out of a lot of the task management things is that were non-task management related things, right? So I was trying to essentially, I used Trello. That was the one I ended up sticking with for a large part of time until I moved to ClickUp. ClickUp is what I stayed on. And the only reason I stayed on ClickUp was because I didn't want to go through the hassle of moving again. What I quickly found out is that my issue was not that any of the task management software sucked. It was that I was trying to use them for things that weren't task management related.
And that's exactly what I was doing. I was trying to use currently ClickUp to be a CRM and a task manager. And I found, and there's ways you can do it, but it's total trash. So I then sought how to find, I was trying to find the all-in-one, which is what ClickUp claims to be, right? And ClickUp's good because it has, what I like about it is that it has the built-in Loom style videos inside of it. You don't have to pay extra for that, which is fantastic for like SOPs and that kind of thing. But trying to make something that's a task manager into a CRM just didn't work.
It doesn't. The thing that I will always tell to any agency, anybody who's doing anything, right, is the best software for anything that you're trying to get done is the software you actually use, right? So if you're not using it, it's not worth it at the end of the day. So if, ClickUp's the issue or anything like that, and knowing you, what you're saying about ClickUp trying to use it as CRM, yeah, it's not going to be an issue. So, I would look at trying to find a legitimate CRM. There are plenty of them. Are
No,
not
I
that
went
great
to
CRMs, but
I went the route of Active Campaign, which is historically really not a CRM, but they have CRM functions built into it because I went the route of I hate anything that's web based. So I have enough tabs open as it is right now. So anything that I can, that's why initially I started out with Notion because I love Notion, but it's really just a PKM, personal knowledge management. So for me, it's like I started with that, abandoned that, gone the route of tried HubSpot. HubSpot's fantastic, but it's super expensive once you start to scale, which hopefully it wouldn't matter if you're scaling the right way. But I like anything that's an app version. So I really like that ClickUp has an app, so I don't have to have a browser open. I could have that there. But you're right. The best tool is the one you use daily. So I've come full blown circle, and being that it's just me and a handful of, for the most part, it's just me. I've went backwards in time, and like you said, the best tool is the one you use. So do you know what I have now as a task manager? I still have ClickUp, but I'm using Apple reminders. Blew your mind or what?
really,
Do you know why? Ask me why.
Why are you using Apple reminders?
Because I use a Mac, I have an iPhone, and I have an iPad. I need a reminder system to haunt me wherever I go. So there's no way for me to avoid a task when it's on my computer and then it's on my phone and it's natively. Yeah, I could download the ClickUp app on everything and have it there, but there's nothing like picking up Siri and just saying, remind me to tell Noah he smells on the 10th at 2:00. Like, it's going to tell me exactly when. So I found that, at least for now, for the smaller agencies, for something like that, that's worked really well for me. But I'm curious because I know Mag uses Asana, right? And
we use Asana, we use Google, right? So we're that kind of stack, and that's the big thing I think is, like, especially from a smaller agency perspective. If you're just getting started, it doesn't really matter what you're using, because the reality is, if you keep growing, 12 months from now, you're not going to be using the same thing, right? It's just nobody's starting.
The funny thing is, I looked at Asana, and they have the free one, and ClickUp has a free one, but I'm like, I want to pay because I want to get all the tools, the automations, the workflows. Yeah. Do you know that Asana makes you buy 5 licenses? If you're just 1 or 2 or 3 people, you have to pay for 5. How scammy is that?
Oh, because they have the free version that
but
only has
like
1/19 of everything on it.
Because I like to, being a smaller agency, I'm embracing the powers of Zapier and the makes and the N8Ns and the automations and the workflows. So to get those workflows, you have to have the paid, for the most part, have those paid things. So that's what I wanted to come on and just ask my question.
There you go.
Stephen
and the answer
Pope
is always going to be,
because this is an AMA with Stephen Pope, right? Stephen Pope.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Mr. Pope couldn't be here today, so I get to be Mr. Pope. No.
Anyway,
I should have changed my little name thing down here to just say Stephen Pope.
You should just get a Stephen Pope cutout and put it behind you and be like, he's here by proxy.
He's here in spirit.
Right, no, that sounds like he died. Don't do that. He's here by proxy.
He's not dead. He's kicking it. He's fine. Well, Mr.
Anyway.
Aspinall, any other questions I can guide the light on today?
What were other questions? Were there other questions you had answered that maybe I could be like?
I mean, a lot of pricing questions, a lot of what services to start with kind of questions. Finding client questions. A couple of
finding client. Things. Oh, I got a good one. Well, this is all e-com, right? So you really don't have agencies that are, for the most part, doing like. It's mostly e-com Amazon agencies, right? That's the running trend.
It is an Amazon agency AMA.
No, there you go. So, hey, I have a fun hack, by the way, for agencies, right?
Yeah.
Can I give a fun hack, or is my time expired? Should I leave?
Give your fun hack, and then we'll
and then get the hell out. All right, no problem. So, out of all the data analytical tools, the Helium 10s, the Jungle Scouts, the Data Dives, all that kind of stuff, right? Guess what's a cool one for agencies to use for prospecting?
Smart Scout.
Smart Scout. Do you know why?
Because it actually gives all of the information there for you.
Because in Smart Scout, as an agency, you can go in there and sort by brands highest to lowest, and then sellers highest to lowest. So technically, if you're prospecting and you're like, I don't have enough clients, you can take chunks of that and then say, I want to see the top selling sellers in this category, and streamline your efforts with outbound prospecting. Because if you're in the mindset, I'm a little bit of a salesperson. I really haven't done much sales in my life. So when you're in the flow of things and you're talking about pet products, you don't want to do one outbound message on pet products and then the next one have to switch gears into like skincare and then go into like mattresses. So you want to stay honed in on that kind of thing. You can go in Smart Scout and just pull out the top selling brands or sellers of that and just knock them all out. And it even shows their address. So if you want to get old school with it, you can send out, I don't know how many of those addresses are actually monitored, but you could send out old school kind of USPS guys. I know MAG, when I was there, we did that way before your time, Noah, back when you were like in second grade.
I've sent out some mailers recently, Mr. Aspinall.
Oh yeah? was it postcards based with USPS on like zip codes and stuff?
Did not do postcards. I did a little bit of customization boxes. I've tried out a couple of people. One meeting.
so I think that's interesting, and that's a great way to use a data tool as a prospecting tool.
I would greatly agree. I'm just happy that you asked the question. I nailed it as far as the software.
I should have stumped you. I should have asked you something you didn't know. Oh, I was going to say something.
You'll never be able to stump me, John.
I was going to say something so mean. I was going to say something. Can I say something borderline mean?
Sure. And then I'm kicking you out.
I was going to say, hey, Noah, tell me this. What's on the top of your fridge?
Dust. Oh, because I have all the power here. He doesn't get the power. Again, I'm a short guy, everybody. I'm a short stature fella, some might say. Fantastic. Love seeing John in here. At the end of the day, love that guy. And we got a couple other questions in here. Let's take a little kind of break here in between the questions, because I got some more stuff to show you guys. Because I got some secret sauce that even John himself can't provide. Actually, he might be able to provide you some, but not all of what I'm going to show. So one of the biggest things: how do you know how to actually grow an agency at the end of the day? How do you know what to do, when to do it, how to scale it, what you're supposed to do? Well, you can either essentially try and figure it out on your own, or you can essentially kind of look at it from a franchise perspective. There is the McDonald's of the world. The McDonald's of the world, they actually give all of their procedures, their policies, and their entire playbook at any point in time. If you are looking to open up a franchise, they will give you the entire playbook on how to open up that franchise. That's how they do it. If you're looking to start an agency, though, what do? Not everyone's going to always have it. But what if we could offer you a fast pass to understanding how to take your agency and actually scale it to that next level? I bet that would be that'd be pretty cool. At least I would think so. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We have about 1,000 different SOPs at any given time, both from an agency perspective and internal. We make SOPs every single day. And with those SOPs, we are offering the chance for you to get the building blocks for scaling, essentially taking what MAG has done, bringing us to a $20 million a year agency, and building it yourself. Take all of our tools, all of our tips, all of our strategies, and build up your own agency. So what if we gave you all of those SOPs, including all of our recruiting, all of our HR, all of our onboarding, finance, retention, everything, and allowed you to, run with it, do it yourself, and even allow you to get some coaching in there as well. A little surprise. Well, you can do it exactly with our system. So again, we have about 1.2 billion annual managed sales. We are a rapid growth company with 400 clients, about 500 employees. We're doing about $20 million a year, and we are going to be giving away all of our agency secrets, all of our SOPs, everything in our entire system, exactly how we have grown and scaled in the last 7 years to where we currently are as one of the largest single person owned agencies on the planet. We have people like Mina from Trivium, who he has also taken everything. He has given us a ton in return, and he is fantastic. He took all of the processes, all of the systems, and he now has multiple 7-figure agency. Mina is killing it. Most of you probably know him, but it's not public. We're not doing this for everyone, just people who are currently here, just people who want this exact thing. So if you're interested, I'd love to know. But what is it? It's our agency operations playbook. You can head on over to myamazonguy.com /enroll. And if you head on over to that link, you're going to get a very, very exclusive special offer that you're only going to get right here, right now, since you are here. With that, you're going to be getting training and 200 plus SOPs on how to run, scale, and grow your agency, and email support from Mag's team. $3,500 value. Now, what if we're also going to throw in our entire SOP library? So we had another 560. That actual number, it's actually closer to, I think, 900 now, roughly, give or take. 560 SOPs, our entire Amazon SOP library, lifetime access, so no year access, no subscription, nothing like that, and 3x more SOPs than the original. The bonus $2,500, so we charge about $2,500 for all of these included as well. And as a huge bonus, there's even more. We're going to throw in our brand strategist playbook. It's $2,000 value. This is if you are looking to grow an Amazon brand. This is every single actual playbook item that our brand managers use on client accounts every single day. So if you are wanting to grow an agency, scale an agency, this is essentially everything you would need. The Amazon SOPs, the actual strategies we use. It is the agency side of things, running operations day to day, marketing, HR, everything you could possibly need all in one nice, neat little package. Best part about this, troubleshooting guide as well. So we're going to give away the troubleshooting guide. That is a couple hundred as well, SOPs. All of that at the myamazonguy.com/enroll. And we're going to give it away for just $29.97. So it's just $3,000 value overall, or a $10,000 value for only $3,000. Head on over there because we're only going to be doing this specifically for this live. This is just our agency AMA. Like I said, we're big on the idea of education first and foremost. We are not afraid to give away all of this to any other agency because we want everyone in the space to thrive as much as possible. Again, that is our agency operations. That is our SOP library, troubleshooting guides, and the actual brand strategist playbook that we use as well. So this will expire Tuesday, April 8th at midnight. So go in there and get it now. We have a 7-day money back guarantee on all of this as well. So check it out at any given time. Now, a couple other words from Steve Walters, another agency owner who went through it. Steven has helped me to dramatically scale my agency where it is today. He has a very successful new agency as well. And let's see. Oh, we're actually back to this as well. We're back to the Q&A. That's all. If you didn't get it now, if you're not going to get it now or not going to get it by, certain time, it is what it is. We're only going to do this for a short period of time, unfortunately. So get it while you can. All right. Let's see. I think we have a couple other questions, and then we will, be wrapping up here shortly. So let's go with, here we go. Melanie, do you feel there's a market for an agency that builds custom tools to optimize all aspects of private label, product research, procurement, and logistics, etc., and its operations with a focus on AI? Yes. I can almost promise you there is already agencies that are doing that, right? So I would almost guarantee it to you that there are agencies that, yes, they will do the product research, they'll do the procurement, and they'll do logistics. Now, it's operations with a focus on AI. I don't even know what that would mean. I gotta be honest with you. I mean, there are tons of AI tools out there, but I don't know what exactly that would mean. Now, do I think that the first part of that? Absolutely. There are already agencies out there that focus on exactly that aspect of things rather than the actual kind of growth of the brand. They focus on just product research, procurement, and logistics. That's what they do. Now, the focus of AI, again, unsure, but potential. Let's see here. Here we go. You're unemployed guy. So from what I get here, I'm not going to lie, starting an agency from scratch is tough. Does Mag do a, I don't know what the A is going to be, but yes, starting an agency from scratch is very, very, very tough. It is, it's not easy in the slice. I am somebody who, I fell into the agency life when I had I didn't even call it an agency. I just called it a consultancy because it was myself. And then eventually I fell into the idea of like an agency because I started hiring people to fill in roles such as design that I did not want to do or could not do myself. Right. So it's tough. It's tough starting. It's tough finding people. The hardest part about anything is getting started at all times. Once you get started, things kind of usually roll on their own and they're pretty easy, but getting started is always the toughest part. Let's see. What strategies would you recommend to revitalize a brand that is plateaued in performance? Well, much more of an Amazon question, not an agency question, but I'll answer it regardless. That's actually one of the things. If you're interested, check out our SOPs because our SOPs have several directly on this exact situation. Biggest thing you can do to revitalize a brand that's plateaued is reinvest in top of funnel marketing. So do things such as SD campaigns, do things such as DSP, try and get more market share within their competitor takeover from an advertising perspective. Sales growth. That's all you can do, which the only way you can do that is to get more market share and get more actual rankability on your product as well. Let's see. How much coaching hours do you get from that program? So the deal that we have today does not necessarily include the actual coaching hours within there. It does, however, include all of the training sessions that we have done for the program in the past. Now, if you are looking for very specific coaching hours, feel free to reach out to us. And we always, for our agency SOP buyers, will always do a package deal for some coaching. If you want either Steven or myself or anyone else to do some coaching for you and everything, we'll absolutely do that and help you with every aspect of that scaling and go through every aspect of that kind of building and brand building around that agency side. More than happy to do that. So all that being said, it doesn't look like there are many other questions in there. So I'll just throw this one out there again. For those that are looking, again, it's down there, myamazonguy.com/enroll. Go over here, check it out. You will get our agency operations program, the Amazon SOP library, brand strategist playbook, and our troubleshooting guide. All of that for only $3K. Go check it out. This only until next Tuesday. This is everything that you could potentially need to build your own agency, start it, and scale it. And make sure you're doing it from a profitable perspective and with all of the proper tools to actually grow the accounts at the same time as well. So definitely go check it out. One of the best values I think we have done in quite a while. But all that being said, guys, I think we're going to wrap up here. For those that are just kind of here as well, to kind of file farewell, my name is Noah Wickham. I am our sales director here at both My Amazon Guy and My Agency Guy. Who are we? We are an education company that also happens to be an agency. Our goal at the end of the day is to be able to spread ourselves around, and it's all of us against Amazon at the end of the day. So feel free, if you're ever curious, to send us a message, ask any question you need, check out our YouTube channel, and again, go to myamazonguy.com/enroll to check out this awesome deal that we have going on. We will hopefully do one of these AMAs again sometime here in the near future for agencies. It's kind of cool stuff, but if you aren't an agency and you just happen to be around, we'll be doing a live Q&A tomorrow going at 12 p.m. Eastern, going over everything to do with Amazon itself, selling on Amazon. So if you have Amazon specific questions, check us out tomorrow on our YouTube channel, 12 p.m. Eastern. It will be myself answering any question about Amazon you can imagine. So hope everyone has a fantastic rest of their day, though. Thank you, everybody.